Let's act like we know what we're doing a little bit here. Dude, I'm learning some tips and tricks.
Dude, we're fucking learning. Honestly, okay, so here we are. Today is Wednesday, February 9th. Me and Corey are here recording this podcast. This is the Rose Garden, episode 3. We've been fucking busy. Shit's been going on. Like, it's funny to kind of think about all the things that have happened. And, like, I feel like I need to say some things about what's happened in the past. Because, like, when we recorded Believe, that was after the show?
Before. That's what I'm saying. It's been
a couple weeks. Okay, so a lot has happened, and I've come up with some, I think, grand ideas. Like, I'm very happy about what's been thought of and said and talked about and, like, where we're going with it. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the song, because we're going to do that first and get that out of the way. The song that we recorded that was out third was I Ain't Waitin'. And it's funny because I didn't take any time naming the songs. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the name that I recorded them in Logic and just saved them as. But, like, looking back, like, I wish I would have changed the name of the song, because it's Excuse Me, Believe, I Ain't Waitin', and then I Am the Spark. The fifth one was literally going to be in the middle. It's like, I'm like, let me get out of that. I don't want to, but it is what it is, and it works for now. And I have to be a little bit more cautious of what I name the next, because, like, there could have been 5 other names in that
instead
song.
of just going with what you already had set.
And also, just, I want to be always open and honest about what it is that I'm doing, but I paid $80, and I just paid another $130 for another song, but I paid $80, and on my Spotify, I've got almost 6,000 plays on Believe. From $80 for a month to be on a playlist. And
how long has it been on the playlist?
Like 2 or 3 weeks.
So hopefully this is halfway through it.
Or maybe 3, or maybe 3/4.
Meaning, like, the viewership.
Yeah.
So if that doubles by the end of the month, then that's great. But I also don't know what playlist this is going to.
It's a hip hop trace. It was like it was called Hip Hop Trace.
Is that one of those that pop up on the Discover whenever you go into Spotify? And
I'm not sure, but it has a lot of listeners.
Because I do that for some different playlists at work. Listen to a lot of lo-fi and just melodic things so that I don't have to.
Yeah, like, you do have to type it all the way in, but, like, I'm on a playlist with DaBaby, like Nicki Minaj, and there I am.
Young Rose.
So it's just crazy because, I mean, it's 30,000 likes. They put me on this playlist, 30,000 likes, 2 hours worth of, and if I go to, this is really what's cool about this, is that I wish I
see your stats.
Yes.
Through that.
But I don't know.
Is it an app that you're, like, purchasing all this shit through and, like, facilitating?
Yes.
Yeah.
So 2 people listening right now. Streams for this was 2,400. Last 7 days, I had 2,400 streams. And you can see that from here, it's all 95% of it is from another playlist. And then if you look, it's like their age, 18 to 22. But then if you go to the songs.
What's the oldest age you got?
I don't know. Let's not talk about it.
I'd be curious. Oh, I'm curious.
No, I know. It'd probably be funny.
Reaching all ages.
Let's see. The age is 60 plus, 70%. 45 to 59. But if you go look at this too, if you look at top countries in the last 28 days, I wish we could do. Where's the other one? Okay, let's go back to here. Los Angeles, 338 in the last 27 days. London, 236. Paris, 192. If I'm in these places and I hear my song and I'm saying this thing, for me, all it is about reach. Like, in a way, I do not have to do anything but continue doing what I'm doing, because what I'm saying is, in my head, valued at so high and, like, so necessary that all I have to do is continue what I'm doing and finding this. It was called Playlist Booker. Pay $80, put them on the playlist, and, like, having people in. I have 104 people in Madrid, Spain, that listened to my song in the last 28 days.
Well, if you look at any of the greats at whatever category you want to put them in, that's essentially kind of the common denominator between them, right? Is that I stuck to my guns and knew that this would pay off, right? Damn. I wasn't trying to mold what I was trying to do into what works.
Dude, that's
because there's a difference.
Crazy.
If you look at it from like a market perspective. Cheers, brother. Salud,
my dude.
Welcome to the Rose Garden, by the way.
Episode 3, we're going to do a part 1 and part 2 to this. So we're going to do the first song, and then we're going to talk about some shit that's happened, and then we're going to do the second song. Y'all going to hear that next month because we're busy. I'm in my work clothes. I've been working all fucking day. Corey too. Like, this is what it is. We come here when we can. We've been busy. We've been living just like everybody else. Like, that's what, that's one of the bits of this is like, I want everybody to be involved, and like I want everybody to feel like I feel because I'm doing this on my extra time. Like I know I'm asking now that I've gotten to this point. Let's do the song. Let's do the song because I have this shit to tell you and I'm so excited. But
all right.
5,900 streams all time, and all my other songs have less than 1,000. So it's all from them, like in a way, like. So I paid $130 to have I Am the Spark, and I'm going to pay that for the other 2. And like, if my songs get to, again, if I just put them in the right place and have people listen, like people are going to, the right person's going to listen, and this is going to push forward. Cause like, again, how can somebody really argue with me about things that we need to work on that are non-political and just human things? Like, you can't really argue with me and be like, no, we don't need to work on our education system. Like, I can give you 10 valid points about why and how. Like, let's not talk about how we can't. Let's talk about how we can do something different. So
how we can.
How we, yeah.
It's not me doing it.
It's not me
going to be you doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to be able to do, I'm only,
do it together.
I feel like in a way, I don't know if the saying fits well for this, but a coal in a canary in a coal mine. Like, before a coal mine crashes or falls, there's like a canary that they would put down there. And when the canary flew up, they were like, oh, there's not enough oxygen here. We have to get out. So in a way, I feel like I'm just, and I know there's a lot of other people doing this. Like, I don't want to discredit or discount anybody else that's doing this because I'm with y'all. Like, this is not a competition. This is like, hey, we all need to band together. And if you got people doing what you're doing, let's talk about it and let's merge. Let's do it all together because I can only, like you just said, like I can't do shit by myself.
There's only so much we can do by ourselves.
But if we have the pull of, and like I know, again, I feel like maybe I'm grandiose in my thinking, but like everybody in the world, like I said, 30 million people, easy. That's easy in America. Because let's have the conversation. And once we get to that point where like this is out enough and we spread it enough, it's going to catch like wildfire. If somebody knows what I'm talking about. Like, again, if I went on CNN or some other MSNBC and just said a couple things, like what user or eventually I'm going to be on the Joe Rogan show. Like I was thinking about it earlier. Like I hadn't necessarily put myself in that position yet. But in my head, I was like, dude, fuck that. I want to be on the Joe Rogan show. Like,
I just want Joe with Jamie and see how he does it all behind the fucking scenes.
Dude.
I want to see that.
For sure. I want to check it out. But like, I feel like I deserve that, but I'm still working up to it. Like, obviously I don't deserve it tomorrow, but if I had the chance tomorrow, like I would be able to say the things I need to say. Like I would know what to say. Like, let's have this conversation. Like, really all of this stuff, now that like I really have thought about it and done it, all of this thing is leading up to like a conversation that we get to have, that everybody gets to have, or I get to have with some people that everybody knows that I'm doing it for the right reasons. Like, I'm going into this conversation for the right thing. And like, that's one of the things that I think I will gain throughout this process is trust in people, because I'm standing on my 10 toes with everything that I'm saying. And if you're curious, listen. It's not far. You don't have to reach far to find what I'm talking about. And if you do, you're not looking, or you're not looking at the right thing. So it's like, it's leading up to, you know what I mean? Like, this is all working up to a point where we get to have this conversation and do this shit. Because my goal is not just to make music and do these podcasts for the rest of my life and still be talking about the same things.
Right. And these are also, we have to think of it too, as these are the first steps to the staircase that we have to climb to get to where we want.
Yeah.
We're still on the first couple of steps here.
Yeah, literally.
Before we get to the point where it's going to get a little bit easier. Maybe there's a turn in them.
I'll just use the candle. So I'm going to play the song, and we'll just kind of play it, and then we're going to go through it. This is the first time we're doing this. I think it's going to work out pretty good, because the person hearing should be able to hear it. So the song is I Ain't Waiting. And I'm going to talk about it some, go through some of the lyrics, but I want, for one, if somebody hasn't heard the song, I want them to be able to hear it through the podcast. And I also want to be able to talk about it. When we did the Believe one, me going through it was kind of tough, because I'm like trying to remember where I'm at and a talking point. Like, let me hear it and then I can talk from that point. So,
right.
It's just different.
You'll see, I'm gonna. And just a little thing. When I made this song, I don't think I've ever been more excited about me making a song. To like up until that point. Like there's so many things that happened to me that are literally brand new to me, like first time. Like this was the first time I was making this song, and when I made it, I was like, holy shit, this is so fucking tight. And when I'm like, ooh, that was me after I had recorded some of it, going back to the beginning and listening and being like, God, I can't fucking wait to hear what I just said. You'll see, I'm gonna. Sometimes I just want to violate. Okay, I know that I am irate about some things about this world. It's time for us to take a tour of the things that we've been doing. Oh my God, I could hurl. Just look around. You just gotta fight the feeling. I know you want to get angry, but fight the feeling. I know you feel it. That was the first time, like, even to this, like, those bars and the way that I said those words, like, I'd never done that before. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to hurl. But when I was doing it, I was like, why haven't? You know what I mean? It's like, almost like I had to do it so many times the same way that it was like, I got to this point and I was free to do whatever. And it was like, oh my God, I could hurl. And like, I caught that cadence. But like, usually I'm just trying to figure out my cadence and like start rapping and doing shit. But this song I still haven't written down. So it's like, oh my God, I know I am irate about some things about this world. It's time for us to take a tour of the things that we've been doing. Oh my God, I could hurl. And it is what I like. That is how I feel. It's like, oh my God, let's take a tour. You don't got to look far. Let's look at it. You could, It makes me sick. That's why I'm doing this. Fuck. I've been angry for a while. I know it's time for something. I am not a witch, but my girl's a bitch sometimes. I love it. Jen hates that line.
I could tell at the show. Because you said it, and everyone immediately goes, oh, and then looks over at Jen, and she's just shaking her head.
Fuck. It's tough, dude. Honestly, it's so hard. Like, just to talk about that one point really quick, like, I love you, Jim. And it's hard for me to talk about.
Is it not true, though, that everyone is a bitch at some point in their day or life?
Yes. And what she had mentioned that I can't argue with is, like, the things that I have mentioned about her on songs weren't necessarily, like, fantastic. Like, she was hot. She's a bitch sometimes. She does, you know what I mean? But, like, I'm like, dude, you don't, in my head, my argument back is, like, you have no idea how hard it is for me to write anything about anybody I've ever been in love with. Like, love has always been an interesting topic for me. And like, I still feel like I'm struggling with the concept of love, of what it's supposed to be. And like this, what's the word? You hope the love that you have with somebody is non-contractual, but that's not the right word. Like unconditional. Gotcha. You want love. Gotcha. Like, how do you love unconditionally and want unconditional love? Like, that is such an interesting thing. And like I would say my first love was weed. First person that ever loved me back the way I loved it was weed. And I think that that's like an interesting, like, it's hard to be like, it's hard to not think about that. Like, it's hard for not to me to have this relationship with something that's inanimate, inanimate. But it's like, dude, again, growing up, the only thing that ever gave me love until I met I'm not gonna say her name, but the first girl the first main girlfriend I had when I started anyway.
Where you felt the
in San Diego, where I felt some woman offer me love. Really.
Where something was reciprocated.
Or something was reciprocated back. But like up until that point, I was watching people be in love and be like, damn, what the fuck I don't got? Why don't y'all love me? Nobody loves me. And like weed was like my thing to have that experience of love. Because again, I had love from my family, but I didn't know that other people didn't have that at all times.
Well, like, it gave you, at least for me, it gave me the comfort and the the acceptance.
Yes, 100%.
You know, like I
100%.
didn't seek any other approval of it, and that can be a
To some
good thing or
degree.
a bad thing.
Yeah. I
you know,
see what
to,
you're saying.
to the extent that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But in its entirety, you know, like it for one thing, it calmed my mind and it allowed me to
The
kind
love of parents.
decompress.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
For sure.
But yeah, there's certainly a relationship that's had with it, and just like any other relationship you have, if you abuse that relationship, it'll go south.
It'll go south. And that's why it's interesting, because like it's almost like I learned my first things about love from a drug. And then, because even then, when I look at my first, well, technically second, like with relationship with Charisse for that year, some part of me, like, I didn't know anything about a relationship. I didn't know anything about what a woman would want from me. Like, I had no fucking clue. Like, there was a couple things that I did looking back, and her being like, yo, that was a little odd. And me just being like, oh, that's not right. Like, you don't, like, this isn't reciprocated. Because I had no parameters of what it should be. And like, it was in a way, like, I love my parents, but like there was things about their relationship that I didn't like. And I'm like, oh, I don't necessarily know if I want this, but I didn't know if that was marriage or just the way they loved.
It's also the amount of time that you spend with them, right? Because you spend enough time with any couple, you're going to find goods and bads about their relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You're going to find what works and I'm good. You find what works and what doesn't work.
I would agree.
Right? So you spend enough time with any couple, any person, you're going to find those things about it. So that's why it's easy to have these picturesque people, but when they go home, it's a different situation.
Yes. And that's why I feel like Instagram has been odd, because I think for a lot of people, it's like, the other is better. What's out there is better.
Grass is always greener.
The grass is always greener, but it's like, you don't know that yet. And that's, dude.
And it's a harsh reality when you find out.
And it's like that. You don't know what you got till it's gone. You be in paradise and you put it in a parking lot. Ooh, bop, bop, bop. You could be in
Turning
paradise.
this into a country song. First of all, it's paved paradise.
A paved paradise.
Pave paradise and put up a parking lot.
You could pave a paradise.
Yeah, it was an environmental
You could
song.
pave a paradise and put up a parking lot. Ooh.
They paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Wow, my mind is blown. I've heard that song for so many years.
Wow,
I
yeah.
knew I was right.
When I was in middle school, it was a science class that was talking about the environment or whatever, and they said that was, at the time, that was a relatively big song, so they just talked about the symbolism that was within it.
Go ahead, mama.
Bye, girl.
Bye. She only loves me so much. And then she's out.
She'll like the weed.
Probably not.
Smells weird in here.
In a class, you learned about this song. It was an environmental class.
It wasn't an environmental class. It was a science class.
Oh, okay.
But we were talking about... it could have even been history, talking about like Industrial Revolution or whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, I know that it was in middle school, and I remember we went literally line by line through the song.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it's talking about, is you're taking this natural thing just to put up parking lots.
Yeah.
So some hippie shit.
It's some hippie shit. But, I mean, nobody's ever all the way wrong.
No, not at all. It's the
Even if you're right, you could.
Nobody's
Even if
ever
you're wrong,
all the way wrong.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's always some validation.
There's
to what
always
people
some
say.
almost
whether or
always.
not it's
No matter
credible.
how valid. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. So okay, so. But it's hard. But anyways, to go back to that bar, it worked in the song. Like, it fit the song. It fit the way I was feeling. Like, it just fit everything. And it wasn't even about like what she was doing. It was just that it fit.
Yeah.
And like, I have to because I just can't really write a love song. Like, I've tried, and maybe I'll get better in the future, but like, I've tried. I think they're all trash, garbage. I would never let anybody hear them.
But there's also, I think maybe the point isn't necessarily about making a love song.
It's just
as it
saying-
is just, you can still praise the fact that you have good support.
Yes.
That you have a loyal person.
Yes.
That you have, like, it doesn't have to
To
be
be
this
one
lovey-dovey,
bar.
I'm in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
feels. Like, and it doesn't have to be an entire song. It doesn't have to be, it could just
But
be
a couple
bar,
bars
or
to-
it could be a couple bars
Yeah.
that, or the song is about having support and the fact that that's an aspect of it. Your parents are an aspect of it.
Yeah.
Your siblings, your friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Saga. The people
And I
that
try.
Yeah.
I try sometimes, but so far, garbage.
Next
They're
time
so fucking
Next
bad.
time you write one, send it to me.
All right, I've literally deleted them. Like I've deleted the verse and
Screenshot it and then delete it.
we'll see. Anyways, so but the rest of that, you know what I mean? I feel like in this song, because I didn't write it, it was so much more like this is how I feel about things. So I feel like I was a little bit less descriptive and a little more like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. So anyways, and it just fit. And then it was like, I am not a witch. Like, what do you, like when I said I am not a witch, like it was like, I can't be like, but I'm not a bitch.
More words that you can
You know what I
use
mean?
outside of it, though. Snitch, twitch, rich. Rich could have been good.
But then what I have to, but it's, even that's weird. Cause like,
Okay, why'd you
but-
why'd you say I'm not a witch? Because you're being hunted?
let's listen to what I said.
Wanna flip the switch? Something I know we gotta do it.
I just been brewing up something. I am not a witch, but my girl's a bitch sometimes. I love it. I just wanna flip the switch. Okay, I wonder what could happen if we do it. Fuck it, let's try. Let's see. Push the fucking button. One way or another. One way or another, I'm gonna find my fucking brother. I just thought it, but like it just, you know what I'm saying? Like when I did it, I was like, I am not a witch. And I wasn't thinking. I was just saying these words. Like I was just rapping.
Right, none of this, just like you said before, none of this is written down.
It's not written down.
So it's not like you're referring back to
I
something.
said
You're just recording
witch,
bits at a
bitch,
time.
and switch. And like, yeah, and I'm recording bits at a time and I would record.
Well,
like-
and if you listen to the next couple lines of it,
yeah.
it
It provides more context.
li-
And it says, I love it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I
But
love
like,
it.
and also, am I not being
And then
honest that
what is
everybody's a
flip the
bitch every
switch?
once in a while?
Yeah.
So flip the switch. In my head, I'm thinking like, there's a couple ways for flip the switch.
Because if you the way that I'm seeing it is if it's following, and I love it,
I just want to, yeah.
and then you're talking about flipping. You could be talking about flipping her switch, right? Because if that's what you love, like the things to poker to really get her riled up.
I was not thinking about her at all after that bar.
Well, it works
Yes. And now I see what
to
you're
benefit
saying.
you,
To benefit me because
so that it's not just a single line about her being a bitch, but the fact that you love it.
Yeah.
And I want.
I love it. I just want to flip the switch. And then it's like, okay, I wonder what could happen if we do it. Fuck it. Let's try. Let's see. Push the fucking button. In my head, there's like one part of it is to say somebody says we can't do it. Flip the switch. Let's see. Push the button. We can do it. Some part of it is like to anybody who says we can't. Why can't we? Flip the switch. What if we could? Push the button. Let's see. Let's fight. Let's try. Let's fucking, you know what I mean? Like, why not?
You're not gonna know if you don't.
You don't gonna know if you don't try. And so it's like do or do not. There is no try. I'm fucking doing it, baby. Like we're going, and like where I'm at now, we're doing it. Like I even said in my show, I was like, look, if none of y'all ever support me again, I'm gonna do this by my motherfucking self, no matter what it takes. I appreciate it. I want everybody to be involved because we all have to do this. But if nobody has my back, I'm not stopping. I'm not going to be like, oh, nobody supports me. I'll stand there by my goddamn self and they'll find out. But I feel like the things that have happened, like going back to, I mean, even Martin Luther King. And I think that's one of the reasons it's such a great example is because at the time, he was disliked by a lot of people. Proven fact. And now we look back, we're like, holy shit, look at what he stood for. And at that time, if Martin Luther King was alive now, everybody would hear him be like, fuck yeah, dude. But there wasn't that way to spread the message as fast. Like things took time. Like we're thinking about how great he is now. 10 years ago, it was still like, holy shit, this man was incredible. But like, when he died, he was still hated by a lot of people. And that's why I feel like, look, all of these things already happened. And like, now I'm saying it from a perspective of everybody can be involved like that. That's why this like leading up to like eventually there's going to be these points like maybe something comes out eventually where it's like I say everything in a short manner and it comes out perfect, whether it be on a podcast, whether it be on this, and maybe that thing gets clipped and then everybody sees that thing and then it's like, oh shit, now we get to have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get
Well,
to
now,
talk about it.
yeah, now we can open the
Now we can open the
out.
conversation and open the door and start and be like the more people that are on board with it. And that's why, so I'm creating the living document website. I'm creating the website for the Rose Garden. And it's going to be this living document. Let's go through the song first and then I'll tell you about it afterwards. But that's how we're going to prove, that's how we're going to do this thing. That's how I'm fucking pumped. Bloodshed. Whatever it takes by any means necessary. My favorite Schoolboy Q song.
Come on now.
By any means necessary. Like I gotta throw these things in every once in a while, but not that like unless maybe like when I say by any means like it's always to Schoolboy Q's ode.
Mm-hmm.
And like and how much we love TD and like how much like all of them, everybody, Isaiah Rashad, like everybody in the group of TD has impacted our lives, and like I am so grateful. Like, oh my
Amen.
God, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sir.
it's crazy.
SZA. Come on now.
She's
Come on.
Schoolboy Q, Kendrick Lamar, like J Rock. I remember when I bought that Camaro in San Diego, there was 2 CDs in there, and it was J Rock's 9095 and Good Kid, Mad City. And I didn't take those tapes out of the fucking car till I sold it. Because I could plug my iPod in and play music, but if I didn't have an iPod, because like remember
Did
when
it have one of those cassette converters?
no in the glove box it was like an actual
so it
setup
was
system.
Aftermarket.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean the fucking car was a piece of shit aftermarket
Yeah,
car.
because my first car was a Neon, and in it had a cassette player and it had a
With the-
CD. So like I had it had a 6. It was fancy as shit.
That's how
no
my
wait that
Frontier
was my
was.
next car. My first one only had a single one.
And you put it in the AC.
Well, the cassette
Yeah.
would have the jack coming
Yeah.
out. Yeah, the
sure.
the phone jack.
I remember that.
Yeah, the speaker jack.
But this was a nice, like the system was nice. I bought it from a guy who had a tire shop. So it was well taken care of, but like it needed a couple things and his son drove it. And anyways, not to get into that, but those 2 albums were in there. So I listened to those songs. Like I didn't know who J Rock was. I just heard these banging songs and I was like, this shit is so far. Like, fuck. And then Kendrick Lamar's, I was like, of course I know this one.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't make the connection until later, like years later. Like I didn't know, but when I was listening to it, I was like, this is so hot. Like, and so I just left it in there, and they were on burned CDs, so they didn't say who it was on the
Yeah,
CD either.
Of course.
So,
Of course.
get a little scary with it. Sometimes all that good shit, gotta find out sometimes what it's like when the bloodshed comes out at night. At night. So when I did that, I was literally I think that was the first time of that one that I recorded. And I was just like I said it as I felt it. Like I said the words, I was like that's what needed to go there. And like, I've never done that. Like you can see how happy I am when I was doing it. Cause it was like, holy shit. I've always said one of my issues is that, not one of my issues. When I get to the point of being able to rap as well as I write, that's when there's the crossover. Like I could freestyle and I could catch the beat when I was younger, no matter, like I would be able to freestyle and say some shit. And then sometimes I would write and I'd be like, damn, this sucks. Fuck. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I know I can freestyle and say shit. And now when I feel like when I got better at it was when I no longer had to write what I was saying, or if I wrote it, I could say it as I would freestyle it.
Do you think a lot of that comes from when you were? Because I remember what you would do is you would essentially just freestyle
Yeah.
6 times.
Yeah. And then pick
take
the
your
best
favorite parts of what you liked about each, and then put something together.
And that's
so
how
is
it
that kind
started.
of how you learn to write more?
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
then
Because then
you
I
can
was-
find what you like out of it,
Because-
and then that naturally just kind of
Yeah.
circulates back to
Because before it was two different things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to merge the two. And so when I started to do that, it was what it taught me was how to put the cadence to the words I'm writing rather than just be writing bars. And it's worked. I mean, it's just made me better in general because it's given me the ability to write things and be able to sound good like I'm rapping, or try to like, and like that's one of the things that I've made music by myself most of the time. Like most of my good songs, like you've been there for definitely some, and probably half, but those other half I've written by myself.
Yeah, I would
And-
say maybe even 25%.
25%. So, and I make the song when I'm just here by myself and nobody, like there's nobody's talking, nobody's saying anything. I'm just here doing it. And even like, yeah, like there's a different feeling when anybody's in the room, no matter what. Like, and that's why it's hard sometimes for me to make music with other people. Or I feel like when I do it, I'm like, this isn't necessarily me. This is a portion of what I can give you in this moment. But when I'm by myself, I'm also just like, I feel like I am almost judgmental on myself. And it's hard for me to get out of my own body sometimes when I'm with other people and I'm not as comfortable as I can be here like I am right now. Mm-hmm. And it's like I'm working on it.
Well, you need
'Cause I need-
the benefit of having someone there is you have someone to give corrective feedback.
Yeah.
In certain areas that only another ear can provide at that point. When you've done, you've been working on a song for, X amount of days or hours.
Yeah.
Once you get that other perspective and feedback, if you're in a rut of, I don't know what to do for this hook.
Yeah.
I'm not filling this space right. I'm off somewhere, right? And then having that other perspective that says, "Hey, this is where I like. This is what I like. This is what
Needs to be.
yeah." And
That's
then
a good idea.
And then that outside, just
Yeah.
mindset of it,
Yeah.
which is why I think me being there for a portion of it, just
Dude.
out of my observation,
Yeah.
and then just
And I feel-
I like that. And then that's one thing that I really liked about this song is the point you keep making of you finally started to, it was very monotone before, and that's not a bad thing.
It was-
but it also wasn't, there's still a cadence to monotone.
Yeah.
You look at Code of the Friend, like everything that he says is a nice melody and then just pretty much what sounds like reading a paragraph.
Yeah.
But it's
It's always
it's
so-
tight.
yeah.
It's
You listen
still
to his
tight,
new thing?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we either of us send each other it, but fire.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were a fan of his. I normally just send things that I see that I know that we both
Oh, yeah.
listen to, or if it's like, oh, you need to know about that.
I just love how authentic he is.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
so-
like to listen to his music because I want to hear, and maybe this is how I'll get more fans. Like, I genuinely want to hear his perspective on things.
Dude, that's
Like,
why
and
he was
he's
a
so
must see
good.
for me in Day in Vegas.
It
in
was
2019.
so
Like,
good
oh.
to see him tell the stories. Like, when I listen, I'm like, God,
Well, and have you watched his music videos?
one. I've watched one.
They all have the same pattern of just standing there, and he has some of his crew
yeah.
or whatever the song is about, like standing next to him, and he's just sitting there, literally just talking to the camera. Like it's so simple, but
Eloquent.
when you have something so simple, it has to be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Like not only just the appearance, like because it just looks really sharp, but it's also it grabs your attention because there's not a lot going on. But to fill that space, you have to have content, and he's got like
Content. Fuck.
it clicks for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's what I look for in artists, and I appreciate a lot of what he does, both
for sure.
with videos and the lyrics themselves, and the music.
I think I saw Ab Soul, right?
That's where you and Mike went.
I would probably still go see Ab Soul. That's my TD.
know,
That's
I
my
know.
dog.
I'd seen Ab-Soul and I hadn't seen Coda, so I was like,
Yeah.
I got it. And he's not
I hope I
big
get
enough
to-
that he
yeah.
tours.
I hope I get
to
to
Vegas
meet them
at
one
least.
day. And that's why I'm like, dude, why not? Why can't I? Like, I feel like the Joe Rogan to talk about that. Like, why can't I? And again, like I used to. Why not go to the moon?
Push the button.
Why not? Push the button. Flip the switch. Let's push the button. So I'm like, in that point,
Try it out.
if there was another time, if there was another way, then that would be for my own personal, would be like, let me, like, try me, flip my, like, let's do it. Like, push the button. I'm been, you'll see. And that's why there's so much of this is so interesting, because the range of possibility of the outcome is so massive. And I think about that so much, because it's a lot. Like, the options. If one goes one way and this is what I think it is, and we get to do what we get to do, we are changing the way that we live and making better for all humans. And saying that right there, why not? What do you mean? There's not the right people in the right places. We're still fighting. There's 0.5% of the population that is in control of 99.5%. Nobody wants to go to war. No average person is trying to go to war with another person. For the most part, they want to be able to provide for their family and live a good life. 90% of the population. Some percentage wants way fucking more, and I get it. I get it. But you can have some, but we gonna get ours too. Like, I'm with, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fine. You can have your shit. I don't need to be. Most people don't need. They don't want to be that rich. A lot of the people that are in the place that they're at, and a lot of people work really hard to try to be, but like, at the end of the day, we now know that being famous isn't what you want. Jim Carrey. Look, I was doing all this shit, and then I got to this point. I'm like, dude, I got here and thought that this is what I needed. Let me tell you, it's not what you need. We know money doesn't solve the problem. Like, it's not a money thing. This is a people thing, that we're not taking care of our people. And around the world, it seems like it's happening. And in a way, it seems like there's some adolescence to the way that we are living on Earth right now. Like, we are trying to just take from everybody. Every country's trying to get theirs. At the end of the day, we can't survive without every country. We need everybody. So we need to update for everybody. And right now, and again, this is kind of my own, there's like a meeting with everybody that's in charge in the world who thinks they know that they've got it right. And I think, to their perspective, they probably do. But now, so many people are so much more aware. Think about when there was 2 news stations or 4 channels on TV, and everybody saw the same news. Now, there's endless opportunities to find the right news. And now we're seeing what used to work fall. That's why Joe Rogan's got 11 million followers on average per listen, and CNN's, all the news stations combined, don't even get close to that. The old way is falling apart, and we need to do something about it, because if we don't, just like I've just posted on Instagram, was talking about risk. It's risky when you're born. This whole fucking thing is a risk. Everything. Driving your car in the day is a risk. Driving at night. Driving at any time. Getting on a motorcycle. Doing job. Not getting what you need in your life. That is all risky. We are risking it every day. Why not risk it for the thing that benefits everyone? How? We knew. Again, I feel like maybe all of those things had to happen. There is no reason, like, we couldn't get here without them. They did a lot of good shit up until, maybe they did some nefarious shit, but whatever. It wasn't bad up until this point. That's why, like, it's tough, because there's like the things that are happening now. Like, even Joe Rogan, they were talking about things he did 11 years ago on a podcast that, like, again, I'm not 11 years ago. Like, I'm talking about right fucking now. We don't need to be talking about shit that happened in the past. Like, we can look at what's going on right now and do something different. But we can't, because we say it's either their job, not my problem, not my responsibility. I have too much to worry about. I can't do anything, down the line. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like that psychology thing where if somebody was like getting beat up outside right now and they were screaming for their life, there's a good chance that if everybody turns their lights on and hears it, there's a good chance that nobody will call because everybody will think that the other person called. More often than not. But if you were by yourself and there was one or two people passing, they would be willing to help. But if you're in your home and there's something going on outside, it's like your neighbors. You're like, oh, it's on somebody else. And so now it's like everybody's just assumed that they've done a good job. Or maybe we're just, again, you got kids, you got this, and this shit hasn't mattered. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it didn't matter as much. It wasn't as pertinent. Like there was time.
Know about it as much either.
They didn't know about it as much. Oh. So that's why it's like, dude, all this shit had to happen. Like in the span of time, you know what I mean? Like we had to learn from these things. We had to fuck shit up. And that is, in my head, adolescent. We're like teenagers. You fuck up and you're like, oh, I didn't know. And then you have to own up to it. You're like, oh, I fucked up. Okay. And then eventually you grow up and be an adult and then you start working together with everybody. But when you're a kid, you're like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like there's way less, you're way less.
Yeah. I think it is important though still to point out that we have come a long way.
100%. Like, I'm not saying that at all. That's what I'm saying.
We will forever be in some form of adolescent state because that bar will always be higher.
Maybe.
Right? So
things get older and wiser.
Yeah. And we're much older and wiser than we were even 50 years ago.
Yes.
But
just 50 years ago, these problems weren't facing these problems. Different problems. They had problems, different problems, but they didn't have mass farming. They didn't have the same, like the average American was able to do their shit and get on. Like people were able to live a normal life, do a job, and shit was okay. There was obviously struggle, but your point. A car was X. Like you could buy a car. You know what I mean? Like even listening to like how my parents talk about buying a fucking Chevelle. It's like, oh, you could just like, you didn't have to have a crazy ass job to buy a nice car. Now it's like, if you don't make X dollars, you got shit to drive. And it's like, damn, what happened? Like now you only get bullshit. Like if you only got $20,000 to spend, you're going to get a piece of shit car in comparison to if you have $100,000 to spend. But in the 70s, if you had 10 grand, you had a good car. The thing is, we just want a good fucking thing. And now it's like everything is like, there's so many options and so many different things and we price them out and it's like this and for everybody to make their money. But it's like, what are we doing? We're just over consuming and overdoing everything. Like there's no regulation on what fucking matters. Like, again, pharmaceutical, healthcare, like all of these things that are just going rampant right now that we know the insurance is frauding Americans and we can't do anything about it. But when you go to a hospital, the doctor says it costs this much and your insurance pays for it and they make a nice chunk. And that's why pharmaceuticals cost so much more here than in other places because people are making money off of it. We have to get rid of the fact that I know people are going to have greed, but we need to make better our system to show that greed is not necessarily going to benefit you. You can get rich, for sure. People need to be able to get rich and get themselves out of whatever situation, but we need to make a way that we're not allowing this to happen. Like we need, again, like we haven't updated our shit in how fucking long. Like we've made some amendments along the way, but like our core stuff, we haven't changed in 250, 400 years. When is America? 1700? Whenever America was founded.
Yeah, 1700s.
So whatever. We haven't really updated our core values since then. Like if you run a business and haven't updated your core values in 20 years, you're out of the game. You're not making money. Shut the fuck up and get on. And we haven't changed shit in 300 years. We haven't even looked at it. And I'm not saying we need to burn it down and write a new one. I'm saying let's look at what we've got. But we need to be able to take a look at this shit honestly and openly as humans and make changes not based off of if we're going to get 77% votage from one side because the other side's going to say no based off whatever the fuck the other side says. Fuck that. Republican, Democrat, I'm sorry. You guys have lost your way. We need to update y'all too. But like, again, let's look at our core values, what our Constitution is, and now let's update it to what's going on in the world right now. Technology was not around at that time. You know what I mean? Like, so many things were okay when that was happening. If you take what we were doing then, and take it to a person that's right now, they're gonna be like, no. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have cars, they didn't have highways, they didn't have these towns, they didn't have technology, they didn't have Instagram. You cannot say that the shit should be the same if they were riding around in horses.
Amen to that. There's a lot of amenities that we live with now that
100%.
that weren't around then.
And we need to take those into account too. And like right now, one of the things that we're doing is we are over consuming everything. And you can see it. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's something like 50% of America is considered technically obese. That's a sucky thing to say. But
is it really at 50%?
What's the obesity rate in America right now?
50% is wild of so.
Okay, I found this on
42.4 in 2017.
Check it out.
It's technically considered obese.
That's 2018.
I'm curious if we're getting healthier or fatter.
There's way more people who are getting healthier, and there's still a lot of people who aren't.
Oh,
Both.
absolutely.
Both sides. And that's why not to say that's why it's 50-50, because some people who aren't obese just because somebody's skinny doesn't mean they're healthy.
Oh yeah.
So it's like,
Skinny fat is more than just the
so let's just talk
insides
about,
as well.
like, I don't even want to say, and obese is obviously a tough word, and it's tough to even talk about, but like, it's tough. I'm a young kid, and I used to be overweight, but it wasn't that crazy. It didn't last that long. You know what I mean? Like, obviously there's advantage. Like, I have, like, my story, like, it's way different. I'm not in a position where I'm 40 years old and in this place and unhealthy and like haven't been exercising and like don't know what it feels like. But like, at the end of the day, if there's that many people, like, let's all band together. Let's band together and say, hey, we all need to do this. Even the people who are skinny, that people talk shit about it, being like, oh, you eat whatever, you're still skinny. Dude, we all need to get healthier. That's it. And no matter what it is, you can always be a little bit healthier. That was one of the things that I learned as a personal trainer when I did that for my bit, was like, I would never tell somebody how to eat right away. Like, it wasn't until like 6 months in that I was really making an impact on somebody's diet. Because if somebody comes to me and they're 45 and you see their I would say, hey, bring in 3 days worth of food for me. Whatever you eat, I don't care. Just tell me what it is so we can see what our starting point is. And you would see 2-3 fast foods, this or that. Nothing is really, no vegetables, no vitamins, no nothing, no goods, just some stuff, a cooked steak every once in a while. And you're like, I'm not going to tell you to stop eating at McDonald's once a day, but let's change your order 3 times this week. 3 times. That's it. Next week, all I need to hear is that you got the apples instead of the fries. 3 times. And it's reasonable. Like, achievable. And like,
things like that have to be incremental. Like, cold turkey for a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying.
It takes way more willpower than.
But if
it does
we're all
a
doing it
progressive
together.
decline. But progressive decline also requires you to continually stay with that.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm a personal trainer. What they were coming to me for was for that.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, it would start with that, and then eventually, like I said, 6 months down the road, it's like they're eating 5 healthy breakfasts in a month. Or in a week or whatever, or like starting to, you know what I mean? And
you've completely cut out
this thing. Yeah. And then it's like every week you start to lose one thing and the change starts to happen and the person is down. So it's like, I get it in a way. And what I'm saying is if there's that many people, then they're not alone. And let's just do it together. Mm-hmm. Let's all do it together. Let's empower each other. And like, let's not say it's your fault or this or that. Like, most people eat the same way. Some people show it and some people don't. But we're not talking like it's realistic.
And also because a portion of it is effort, right? there may have been things genetically about you that as you got older, you were able to lose that.
Yeah.
But you also put in a lot of work to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, at least for me, especially with something physical, it trickles over into other aspects of your life. So as you become more active on a regular basis, then your studies get better in school. Your discipline at work, is better, and you're performing better
for
in
sure.
other areas because it's not something that it's one of those things, especially in the beginning when you're getting started, you're not looking forward to going to do.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're there,
You
and
love
when
it.
you leave, you're like, how did I contemplate not wanting to
Yeah,
do
for
this?
sure.
And yeah, the next day might suck, but eventually that goes away.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah, for sure.
It never feels as bad as because I took the last 3 months off the gym, and then my first week back was miserable.
But now you feel great.
Yeah. Now, yeah, but I remembered going to by taking the break, it allowed
remember
me to
why.
get excited.
Yeah, for sure.
About it. Like I was ready to go back because I took it off for the lacrosse season. Was just busy and lazy and
Yeah.
didn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
But the second I'm back, like one, I lost all my strength, so I'm like, okay, we got to work.
Yeah.
We got to go back to work. But it was so gratifying, and like I've noticed it at work. I've noticed it in my
Yeah.
relationships and my friendships. Like,
Yeah.
I'm noticing.
You want to give a little bit more.
Yeah, I want to.
Dude, that is
It makes you get away from complacency.
that was
right?
so well said. Like that's it. On a micro and a macro, what you just said is exactly what, like, if we were all in it together, it's like, let's just do a little bit better. Let's just get back in it. Hey, there's been some breaks. There's been some this. There's been some that. But it's like when you're in a class, I feel like that's one thing right now. Like everybody's so divided off shit that doesn't necessarily pertain to what we need to work on. Like we need to work on human things. Let's get rid of the barriers. Let's kick them down. Why are we divided from a phone? Because we don't talk to each other enough. Like we haven't learned enough, but like everybody's different for sure. Like I'm not saying we all have to mingle. I'm not saying you have to have, you know what I'm saying? Like all I'm saying is let's just do it together and meet in the middle on some things that are very basic for everybody. We all need to do, and that's where it's like we could all do a little bit better. And imagine if we were all like right now, if I was able to say, like, let's just say on the Joe Rogan Experience, we're there. And I'm like, if we all just did a little bit better and we all divided some of those barriers and said, hey, look, we need to work on some real issues, then, because like even, so I went to get, I was talking to this lady. I was at the Stretch Zone. It's like a place where they whatever. And this lady, that I got, she was super cool. I connected with a couple of my friends. Anyways, we were talking, and God damn it, what was I just about to say?
Stretch zone.
Stretch Zone. The lady. What was the part before that?
Being together, doing it together.
Fuck. God damn it. Fuck.
I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty high for
A bit.
for a little bit there. We'll cut this out.
God damn it. I forgot.
Also, the 2-part podcast is gonna be one.
No. We're about to stop it, and
We
then
might just chop up.
no. We're about to stop it and do the second song, and then we'll talk about the website on the second part.
Okay. See how long we've been going.
God damn it. Fuck. Can't believe I forgot.
It's an hour.
Let's finish the song real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Trying to think of where we could catch it back up at.
Play the last.
But what we have to do is all put in a little bit more effort and come together on some things that we all need. And again, like if we start here, I'm starting in Las Vegas, but once this gets to America, why wouldn't the other, like, why, you know what I mean? I'm like, why couldn't we all do it? Let's look at what reality is at this moment and make some decisions that we need to based on the future of the world. Why are we not working together? Why are we still fighting people over religion? Why are we fighting people in general? I know that there's going to be war and there's going to be anger and there's going to be this. But now, the way that our life is with technology, we do not have to be in the same place that we were when we were still riding around on horses. We can do better. And most people just want to survive. And now that we could all be like, oh, we don't have to do as much, but we could be more connected. Because I feel like right now, a lot of people are not connected to the way the world is going. They're just doing their own thing. That's why I feel like what I'm saying is so, like, I want people to participate and I want them to feel like they're involved. Because we feel so disconnected from what's going on and we just feel like we have to take it. Or we have to take. We either, you know what I mean? Like, or we have to feel like we are going to do what they do so that we feel justified. Like, think about how many people do what they're doing because they feel like what they see is okay. They see corruption, greed, all these things negative that goes on in their government. If you think your leader is not a good person, it's a little bit easier to convince yourself that you don't need to be a good person either.
Yeah, because from the top down, if it's broken, what difference is it?
What different? Why do I have to be the good person? And then you have a couple things in your life happen where when you're being the good guy, it doesn't work out. Then you're like, nice guys finish last. Mm-hmm. Like, we didn't get to that point for no reason because the world that we see is take. Eat or be killed. Like, bro, there's still gazelles in the world. There's still everybody. Mm-hmm. This is an ecosystem. We're all here. But like right now, we have to make sure that everybody is cared for and not just some for money. Like money is great, but it should be a tool, not a thing that's keeping everybody where they're at. Like inflation, you know what I mean? Like the average person is getting paid less and things cost more. Why? Because the money's getting concentrated and they make the rules and they do whatever they want and they can lobby for things and shit. You know what I mean? Like they all know each other. There's not like you hear this in any topic, anything. The best people, there's not that many. There's not that many of. There's not that many guys in the UFC that are top 10. There's only so many divisions and so many dudes. There's only so many people who are doing what's going on. Like there's not that many people involved. There's definitely some shit and some extra shit, but like at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that had money, like the guy who built the fucking railroads back in like the 1800s. They got fucking mega rich. They never needed another dollar back then. So it's like, again, we're taking what's happened already in the past and saying that this is just how it is, not how it can be. And again, if we all are together on it, there's no stopping it. There's so, you know what I mean? There's so many people. We don't have to do shit. We don't have to do anything. Mm-hmm. We're not letting these things have happened, and this is where we're at right now. But we could totally do something different right now. And we've learned from the past, people. We've learned from the past. So we're gonna do the song. Let's just, and then we're gonna fill it up. And I'm fucking empty. That's how it feels inside sometimes. But I know I just walk and keep, towards the fight. I know I'm gonna bring it there. Baby, we keep talking. Let's just find a square. Fade up. Trying to get my fader on. I wanna be up in your paper. I feel like sometimes I just gotta talk some shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I gotta have a little fun.
I gotta have a little bit of fun, but like, let's find it, square. Let's fade up. I want to get a little, and then it's like I want to fader. I want to be up in your paper. And it's like the Fader magazine. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like I'm saying, like, again, but it's like it's not even. It's funny because I'm just having fun there, but like. Sure, we could fight about it, but at the same token, it's like these things, like, who are we fighting? Like, who's really in charge that's fighting back to us? Some old dudes?
A lot of them.
That's it. A lot of them. We got, dude, think about how many people are in the world. There's billions. Wow. Even if it was 1,000, even if it was 100,000, a billion?
A couple of them, yeah.
Even if there was 1,000,000, a billion? And there's multiple billions of people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even if we were talking about 1,000,000 people in charge, that's probably too many. Think about the best snowboarders in the world. They all go to the Olympics. Like, or you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not that, or even them that don't. But you know what I'm saying? God damn it.
I don't know what you're saying.
There's only so many people that are great. And there's only so many people who are that good. Like, think about the NBA. Think about how many players are actually in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how many players play basketball. Big difference. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you think about money, think about how many people.
I understand the ratio that you're providing.
okay.
I need more examples of that. I mean, what you're getting at as far as what the fact that the little have control of.
Dude, we just have to take back the
majority?
little control. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, we just have to flip the switch.
Yeah.
Push the button. Let's see what the fuck will happen. And see some things. I want to change the fucking world. My dream. It only seems impossible, but I'm impossible. What? My name is Rose. Treat me as such. When I said that, I couldn't stop laughing. Because it's funny and it makes sense, but it's so stupid.
But there's also no other line for reference. I'm impossible. What?
My name is Rose.
There was no like.
But like, because it was when I said it, I was like, what? Like in my, like, I literally was like, what did you just say? I can't believe you just said everything.
Genuine reaction afterwards. What?
What? No, for real. Like, that's actually what happened. And then it was like, well, fuck, my name is Rose. Treat me as. I know my mind. It is so concrete. I like to shred in the snow. I like the sports. I like to go. It's time to do something about it. And that part, I just feel like I don't really throw my personality in that much of my music. And like, I wanted to. I was like, I shred in the snow. You know, I'm like, I like to snowboard. I like sports. I like to go. I try to do something about it. Like in my head, I'm literally like, let me tell you a little bit about myself in this song. Cause like, it's hard for me to say, you know what I mean? Like I try to input myself into it, but like, that's the most like, even in my life, like everything I do, like most of the stuff I do is not for myself. It's for, you know what I mean? Like obviously I have self-care and like I've gotten way fucking better at that though. Like, the gym, I went to the gym because I was like, I have to look good and do this and da. But like, that was like a necessity. And then it was like, oh my God, you don't have to. But like, it was obviously to make me feel good about myself. Mm-hmm. But then now it's like, what do you need? So now I'm way better at doing what I need to make me happy. And then the other shit that I do is either for tough skin or for like this or for, you know what I mean? For the house, for this, for that. And I'm happy. Like I love what I'm doing right now. And I feel like what I'm doing is doing the work now so it can be different then. And I just know that I have to spend more time while I can to do what I need to. Because like when I'm 50 and 60, I'm not trying to still be doing it like this. But I'm young and I'm able. So I'm going to get it when the fuck I can. And like I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity and every time that I can because I know that it's going to be different in the future. And I know that I'm not going to be able to have as many genuine conversations, like, or not genuine, but like how many just like random conversations that I have with people where it's like, I'm like, it's so like, and I want it to always stay authentic. But like sometimes I have conversations, like nobody knows what I'm doing. And like, I still don't really, like, I don't lead with, I don't tell anybody about what I'm doing until after multiple conversations for the most part. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody asks me what I do, I'm in a family business. We protect marble. Like I don't really go past that most of the time because I do feel like one is it's a lot. And like, I'm not really trying to take people's days up sometimes, you know, like I'm not trying to, and like, I'm usually just like, oh yeah, I'm in a family
It
business.
normally opens a conversation up to much more.
And then I can just talk about them. Cause often, or not often, but sometimes I don't want to talk about it. Like, or it's not the right time. Most of the time. Like, how many times you can be like, oh, let me talk to you for 10 minutes. Like, no, I ain't got 10 minutes. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, most people aren't trying to hear it. So it's like, I'm still just like building it. And like, I think that as I do it, like, you know what I mean? Every time I say it, I posted this thing on Instagram that Conor McGregor said that was like, if you believe it and you have the courage to say it, it will happen. And I'm like, oh, that made me feel good. Cause I'm like, I believe it and I'm saying it. It's gonna happen. And then it's like, dude, fuck. If this is like, if I'm saying it and I'm doing it and it's gonna happen, then it's like, fuck yeah, push the fucking button. I ain't waiting no more. I'm tired. I want to change the fucking world. Is that too hard, too much to ask for?
No.
One day, it's a drought outside. It's time for us to change the world. Okay. One day, I'm tired of the tyranny. Ain't got no fear in me no more. Hey. Hey, no more. Ain't got no fear in me no more. I ain't waiting, no. All right, go listen to me on Spotify. Rose, if you want to hear the rest of the song, goes on more like that. Listen to it again.
Try it again.
Okay. So I say that a couple more times. You can find me on Spotify, Rose, R-O, money sign E. That differentiated me and it sounds cool. That's I Ain't Waiting. So that was like, you know, so it was fun to do that song like that. Like I was having so much fun. Like I was just like, oh my God. And it like, honestly, one of the things that I've heard a little bit from my friends is like, dude, you're just being you. And like, I have never felt like I'm just being myself the way I am right now. And I am excited for the future still, for this to grow and for me to be myself more. Like I still feel, I still feel like I feel like I'm growing. I'm still growing into my best version of myself. You know what I mean? Like I feel so far from it. I don't know. Like I'm even in one of my songs I talk about like I'm gonna find out what I'm getting to, and in a way I feel like I'm growing into the version of myself that I will be, but I don't know my role. That's
that
why,
vision will also always adjust.
yes, and like that song, like I'm still trying to find my course, pacing back and forth. Like I still feel that way. Like when I'm in 25 years, I'll know my position in the world. Maybe, hopefully. Maybe it's still growing in 25 years. But like I will know way more definitively where I'm at in the world rather than right now. Like I have no clue.
Yeah.
Like where I fit, like what is this taking me to? What can we actually accomplish? Where do I fit into this mold of what we're actually doing? Cause like I already know, like maybe I'm just on the totem pole somewhere. I don't know. Like somebody else could be like, maybe I reach out and maybe I get to a point where somebody else connects with me, but they got this going on. I'm like, oh shit. Let me show you what I've done. Like, I don't know. I don't know where I fit into this. Like, are we going to have, you know what I mean? Like, will I eventually feel like I need to be like, it's funny to kind of talk about saying like, oh, the president, like, cause that's like, I don't know. It's just funky to kind of talk about now. And maybe when I'm older, I'll feel more comfortable saying that, but like, maybe I'll give my time and then take it and then be done and try to do what I think is right and try to live by that so that when I do my role, I'm just setting up more for the future. And I'm able to like, you know, be honest and be authentic and give back what the world
Think
needs.
beyond yourself.
Think beyond myself. 100%. And that's why it's like, would I take that role? If I was offered, I would, only because... Not only, but because I think I could, one, make the situation better and find the people in the right position. Like, let me talk to some people. I bet I could find the right person. Like right now, what's going on? Like I could talk to them, but I would know, hey, look, this is what you guys are doing. It's not working. These things aren't working. Let's talk to what's worked in the world. Like, let's go talk to this manufacturer. Let's go talk to this thing. Let's go talk to this education company. Let's go talk to all these people. Let's find the right shit and build what we need. And that's also not an easy task either. Like, what I'm talking about is really going to take time to even if tomorrow we got to do it, might take 5 years, 10 years. But we have to start. We have to start somewhere. Just like anything, just like fitness, going back to, no matter where we're at, we have to start somewhere. Let's start.
And it all starts with making the decision to do it. Having
And
a
it wouldn't it be-
conversation with yourself, because
and
it
it
is a
would be-
conversation.
Yes, and it would be easier
Anytime you
if
do anything
everybody was in it together.
Oh yeah. If you have a community to join, that's the funny part about the gym too, is like you see the regulars and then eventually those people turn into a head nod, and then eventually it comes over
Yeah.
to, hey, you done with this? And then
Yeah.
You start a conversation, and then you meet people through it, and then now as you see each other, like small things, that community sense starts to grow, and then I'm looking forward to going so that I can see the progress that other people are making too. Then you find out about the progress that they're having professionally or in a relationship or whatever is going on, that those benefits of having discipline and working hard spill over into those other areas of life.
Very well said. All right, part 2. We're going to talk about the website that's going on. The website is going to be a living document where we're going to basically point to all things good. So stay tuned. It's going to be for the next song. We're going to go grab a bite to eat, come back and sit back down and record it. So again, we're fucking trying here, guys. I know everybody's living, everybody's doing their thing. And, just to recap what we just talked about, like, fuck it. Let's find this passion. Let's find the purpose. You know what I mean? Like, let's do the things that everybody wants to do. It's time. I ain't waiting no more. Even this was like, you know what I mean? All this shit, like, this is me screaming. I'm not waiting any fucking more. I've got a room with this rug that I had made by my friend. I picked out all this shit. Like, this is the most shit I've done for anything in my entire life. Like, I have done, you know what I mean? Like, in my head, I'm like, all of these things, even just making the music part was just making music. I'm like, all I gotta do is make music. Now I open this door, I'm like, you ain't gotta just make music, boy.
There's a lot more to it there, bud.
There's a lot more to there, boy. But luckily, I've been having the conversation. So the conversation that I've had with all these people matches what I'm now saying in the music. And as it grows, as this podcast grows, people are going to look back again, talk about in 25 years. People are going to look back and be like, damn, this motherfucker said what he was about to do, and he did it. He did it. But we have to still live it. Like, that's like, oh my God, that is the incredible
That's
portion.
how you get it done, is you got to live it.
We gotta live it. And like, I'm still like, I not to say that I haven't lived, because I have lived a fuck ton. But like, I'm like, you know what I mean? This is gonna be like getting it on. Like, this is gonna be like the fucking kickstart to the motorcycle when you hear the bum, 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 bum.
You're shifting into the next gear.
Shifting into the next gear, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't fucking wait. Like, my whole life has been leading up to these next years. Literally. I've always felt this way, and I've never felt as concrete about it. But like, I have been waiting for this time my entire life. Right now.
Time to get it.